Most people ask the wrong question. They ask, how do I get an avoidant back? But the real question is, how do I become someone an avoidant can safely come back to without abandoning myself? Because avoidants don't return to pressure. They don't return to pursuit. They don't return to emotional urgency. They return to safety, autonomy, and emotional steadiness. And that starts with understanding why they left in the first place. Why avoidants leave? Avoidants don't leave because the relationship was bad. They leave because the attachment system became activated. At the beginning, everything felt easy. No expectations, no emotional dependency, no responsibility for another person's emotional world. But as intimacy grew, so did emotional closeness, future implications, perceived responsibility. For an avoidant nervous system, this doesn't feel like love. It feels like pressure. Pressure to show up, pressure to not disappoint, pressure to lose autonomy. So they don't leave you, they leave the internal state of overwhelm. And here's the painful truth. The more you chase, explain, prove, or emotionally pursue, the more you confirm their fear that closeness equals loss of freedom. Which means the first step to getting an avoidant back is stopping everything that pushes them away. Why chasing never works. When an avoidant pulls away, anxious energy rises. You want clarity, reassurance, answers, repair now. But to an avoidant, that intensity feels invasive. Chasing does three things. It removes their sense of choice. It increases nervous system overwhelm. It reinforces their belief that relationships equals pressure. So even if they still care, their body says, I can't breathe here. This is why avoidants often feel relief after leaving. Not because they stopped loving you, but because their nervous system finally calmed down. You cannot argue someone back from a survival response. The only thing that creates return, detachment with integrity. This is where most people misunderstand detachment. Detachment is not pretending not to care, playing games, withholding to manipulate. Healthy detachment is emotional self-regulation. It looks like no chasing, no emotional dumping, no we need to talk speeches, no pressure for decisions. You step back, not to punish. This does two things. 1. It removes the threat of engulfment. 2. It allows space for their attachment system to activate safely. Avoidants come back when they feel free, they don't feel demanded, they don't feel responsible for your emotional state. And this only works if your detachment is real, not a strategy, a shift. What you must heal in yourself. Here's the part no one wants to hear. If your primary focus is getting them back, your nervous system is still organized around external regulation. Avoidants are deeply sensitive to this. They can feel when your stability depends on them, your worth depends on their return, your calm depends on their choice. And that is exactly what scares them. So the work becomes regulating your own emotions, grieving without contacting, restoring your sense of self, rebuilding a life that doesn't revolve around them. This is not a tactic. This is becoming emotionally sovereign. And paradoxically, this is what makes return possible. Because now, you're not pulling, you're not waiting, you're not energetically gripping, you're grounded. Avoidants feel safe around grounded people. How to respond if they do reach out. If an avoidant comes back, this is where most people lose them again. The impulse is to process the past, demand explanations, seek reassurance, rush closeness. But remember, they left because closeness overwhelmed them. So repair must be slow. Healthy response looks like calm presence, no interrogation, no emotional flooding, no rushing intimacy. You meet them where they are, while staying anchored in your boundaries. You don't overgive, over-explain, over-accommodate. You let consistency rebuild trust. If growth is possible, it will show in behavior, not promises. The most important truth. Here is the truth that makes this video ethical. You cannot make an avoidant grow. You cannot heal their attachment for them. You can only remove pressure, create safety, hold boundaries, and choose yourself. If they return without self-awareness or growth, the cycle will repeat. So the real success isn't getting them back. It's becoming someone who no longer chases unavailability, no longer confuses love with longing, no longer abandons themselves for connection. And if they come back after that shift, You'll finally be able to choose consciously, not from fear, not from attachment, but from clarity, and that is real power. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. But when you stop trying to get someone back and start coming back to yourself, you never lose. Because the version of you who no longer begs for closeness is the version that only accepts real love. And that changes everything.